Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Welcome to Seller Club Podcast. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how to make important tasks in our business not boring and monotonous.
Not boring.
Did I say it right, Glenn?
Oh, you did. I like that.
I'm a
Right,
fan of
right?
not boring. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So we're going to dive into it. But before that, we got to drop the beats right here. So, guys, I'm so excited to tackle this topic today because starting fresh, and we gotta spice it up a little bit, right? I feel like
Totally.
it can't be the same salsa all over again like 2023. We gotta put something in there, maybe extra lime, extra chili. Glenn, how do you like your salsa?
Hot, definitely hot. Has to be
Definitely hot.
spicy.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Are
you?
you pro cilantro?
Uh, mm, not. You know what? Not really.
Well,
Are you like a cilantro tastes like soap kind of person?
Tastes like soap.
did you
Yeah,
know
have
that?
you heard that?
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like
give the
genetically, some
Yeah.
people like taste soap when they eat cilantro and they hate it,
right.
and then other people are like, no, it tastes like cilantro and it's
That is
delicious,
so
like
weird,
me.
right? Like it's a percentage of people
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that when they eat
It's a
cilantro,
thing.
it's soap. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're teaching Glenn this right now. I love it.
I know.
Well. He's not a pro cilantro guy because I know because like his sauce is so spicy, he can't taste the cilantro.
Can't taste anything. The
Yeah.
taste buds are just so far gone at this point that
Yeah.
it's just like, what is that? We don't even
Completely
know.
scathed. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
So I like salsa, but I like cheese dip better.
Yeah. I love cheese.
jal- with
I love
jalapeno.
tomatillo salsa
With
too.
jalapeno in them.
Oh,
Cheese
okay.
jalapeno dip.
No cheese, no dairy. That's the rule. So.
Oh, but you
Uh,
could get some cashew cheese, right? Is that right? Right?
There
Is
we
that a
go.
thing? Right? That's a thing.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know
is a
if
thing.
that's especially like I don't know, would go with like salsa though.
Right,
Or
right,
like
right, right.
it's not that it doesn't mimic that kind of cheese, I don't
Right,
think.
right. Well,
It doesn't, but he'll do. He'll do the job.
it'll
It'll do,
do,
yeah.
it'll do. But here's the thing, guys. When I make salsa, I mean, just talking about just referencing on what 2024 is gonna be, it's gonna be a mango salsa. It's
Ooh.
gonna be something different. It's gonna be
Something
a pineapple.
sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pineapple salsa with some strawberries in them. Think about that, some tang in there. So,
Strawberries.
yeah, like we have to mix it up, especially with being in business for, man. Can I say like we've been in business for a long time? I mean, this will be our
Yeah.
7th year this year. Started in 27. Now it's 2024. Um, we have to probably ask the oldest person in business here that has been in business for 22 years, apparently, at the eBay podcast, right? Glenn, what do you do? I mean, like, what? Like, let's just say, let's not try to answer the question. What are the things that you ask yourself when you're trying to think about how to spice things up, how to sweeten things up, to not make it boring and monotonous? What are the things that you have to consider?
Well, I think it's funny, like on the show notes that we were talking, it says like, is it time for an air freshener? Like, I need like full Febreze on this. I mean, I'm just like, to
Some
not
new
feel-
flavor, some new flavor from
Yeah, exactly.
Salsa.
salsa scented
Mango salsa
Febreze.
Febreze.
Keeping it fresh. Well, monotonous Mondays, as one
Right.
of our buddies would say. That we found an IG page that talks about monotonous Mondays, and with it being a good thing,
Yeah.
to not have to like use your brain and think. You're just going. You're just doing.
Right.
And you know what? Sometimes it is good in the business to like not have to think. 'Cause
Yeah.
shipping kind of. Sourcing is the funnest part. I feel like listing can really put you in that zone to where you're just listening to music, you're just listening to a podcast.
You become
Seller
a
Club
robot.
podcast, by the way, if you need to
Yeah,
listen to
for
something.
sure.
Obviously,
Only
we
Seller
all
Club.
love to
Yeah.
listen to our own podcast at every
Yeah.
I know,
opportunity.
of course,
I
Kanye,
do. I
listening to
listen back to
yourself.
them.
Oh, Anna does. There we
I
Yeah.
go.
totally do.
Yeah, she
Because
judges us
I'm like,
hard.
what did we say?
Mhm. What did
I
we say?
do.
Is
I'll
that,
text
is
Ken
that
and be
true?
like, oh my gosh, why didn't you edit that mouth noise out? Oh my gosh. No.
And so
We
I think
don't.
the listing part it's a little relaxing at times. I think that helps me
Yeah.
to focus on a certain part of the business that I don't have to maybe overwork myself maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. So for me, the listing part I can definitely do. And that doesn't feel, what would we just say? I guess like a heavy
Yeah.
shadow on me, or heavy just like oh, what do I
Yeah,
do?
like a super grind. I mean, it is monotonous, but it's not necessarily boring. Like, there's a difference between those.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
And
repetitive.
And I think some people also probably say the opposite. Like, I need to go sourcing. I need to get out there a little bit. I can't be staring at this death
Yeah.
pile over and over again. And, but there's something about clearing that death pile by getting it listed, getting it organized, putting it away, and not seeing it that just also has a refreshing part of it. Like, hey, I can see my floor now. I can see, there, with it being less cluttered, your brain is also less cluttered. There's something there that you can just feel free a little bit. So I think you do have to get rid of that. And if you can sit, list, and be comfortable, I would do that. Put on the headphones and go to town listing. What do you think?
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that question. What about you, Anna, in a different mentality or in different department? I would say, as far as just life activities, is that something you consider? Because you're running a business. Most of the business have to stay constant, right? Like what we
Yeah.
just discussed with Glenn, the listing, the shipping, those things don't stop. But when you
Totally.
have time to take a breather, your weekends, like what does
Yeah.
that look like? What are the things that we have to consider that we actually have to be a little bit more intentional? Because with the
Yeah.
smaller amount of breaks we get in between things in a business, how should we think about it? How do we go about it? I know for a fact that you're very good at planning, and I'm terrible at it. How will that play? I mean, I guess after you, I'll give my take on how I do things differently. That way, we could challenge everybody to. It's not one way or another. It could be both, or
Oh,
it
for
could be all.
sure. I think that spontaneity is like a huge antidote to this. But even though I am a huge planner, that doesn't actually come naturally. That is a really well and deeply developed like compensation for being naturally kind of all over the place and scatterbrained. So like that's something I've learned to help myself succeed in life and at the things that I've done and in school and all that. So now it's like my best friend and I lean heavily on it. But if I didn't have like a physical planner, I would be like lost. So that's why I schedule things so much because and plan things because it really helps me to kind of like organize the internal chaos. But yeah, I think, one thing that I've actually found myself doing, even though it's been really like nose to the grindstone in my business, I mean, I've been talking about this since the beginning of the podcast, but moving halfway across the country and resituating my whole storage situation and, shipping from a different location and, streamlining inventory, like all of that stuff has been so much extra work besides like my regular day-to-day operations in the business. And so I've done things like put something on the schedule weeks or months in advance where I've just blocked off time to do something. Like, for example, in the summer at some point, I scheduled in December a Saturday where I was like, I blocked off the whole day. Like, I'm going to bake Christmas cookies that day. Because if I wait until December, I will fill up my schedule too much with other stuff and I won't make time for it. But I know me and I know that in December I'm going to want to bake Christmas cookies and I should. I should take a
So
break and I should do that.
anticipating, yeah, anticipating certain busy
Yeah.
times, in booking in my head because there are a lot of events in our lives that are
Yeah,
constant too, right? Like your mom's birthday, your
for
parents'
sure.
birthday, your brother, your sister. They might be living in a different state, so that might be
Yeah,
something that right this year I'm gonna go visit them instead of them visiting me. Because it should go whether they're in a different country or 2 hour drive, right? Like for
for
me,
sure.
like I have to schedule it months ahead if I'm going out of the country. But
Right.
there's nothing different. I mean, the
Right. There's no
difference is
reason
just that
not
this,
to
yeah,
schedule it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
that
So
far
I like
ahead.
that. I like that. Yeah.
Well, and also, like, this past year, I did more traveling really for eBay related stuff than
Mm-hmm.
I expected at all. Like, a few things came up pretty last minute. And so, something that I learned that I'm going to implement, I mean, that I'm going to implement just going forward is whenever I'm traveling, it's really tempting, especially having time away on, it's
Mm-hmm.
really tempting to like turn that off as soon as possible and like jump back into shipping like the minute that I get home. And what I have learned is that I would be way better off if I blocked off at least half a day, if not a whole day, on the front
Just to
and back
recover.
end of traveling. Yeah, to like get my life back in order, do my laundry, actually get my suitcase unpacked, and
Yeah.
not it be like the next weekend afterwards. So stuff
Mm.
like that you can be strategic about, put it in the plan, and don't allow yourself to divert from the plan. You will thank your past self for doing that like every time. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a good way. But that it helps kind of get rid of chaos, which is sort of the opposite of monotony. But I think it helps with monotony too, because you're inherently taking a break and sort of breaking up and changing environments, changing perspectives. And like I've said this before too, and I'll say it forever, like most people quit something when really they just need to take a break
To
and they
break.
waited
Okay.
too long to take a break. So schedule
That's
that
true.
stuff in, and then you don't have to hem and haw about when or whether to do it, and that will really help, I think, the monotony factor too.
Yep. I mean, I like that. I like the fact that just scheduling. I mean, I heard scheduling that Saturday ahead of time, maybe we could think about it quarterly, right?
Yeah,
In a quarter,
totally.
we have what, let's 16 weekends. If is my math correct? No, 12. 12 weekends. Four
12
times three.
weekends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
12 weekends, and out of those 12 weekends, um, let's just say we're just hard workers, right? Let's say we want to give up and sacrifice our weekend. All right, like how many weekends out of the 12? Let's just say four, right? So a
Once a
third of the
month.
weekend,
Yeah.
right? Once a month, you want to grind harder. What do you do with the next third? Maybe it's for celebrating wins, right? Or spending time with uh, people, your family, and the other third could be something vacant or free
Yeah.
that you
Leave
could
it to be
just
spontaneous.
leave it to be spontaneous. Just drive. A lot of times that have been the most refreshing are just the quick 2 hour drives and go to just a different city. And it doesn't even have to be costly, and that's the biggest thing. People think traveling is costly, but if you actually book and buy tickets ahead of time, maybe I've shared this to a lot of our friends. We've flown to Florida for $28 round trip per person, me and JC.
Yeah.
I mean, I would spend more just stopping at a gas station buying snacks if it was a 4 hour drive.
Listen,
So, yeah,
the road
Especially
trip
at
right?
snacks are
Bucky's.
imperative. Oh my gosh, Bucky's.
Oh
Wait.
man,
Glenn,
Bucky's.
Glenn, we
Those
have Bucky's
pecans.
now. Glenn, we have
Yeah.
Bucky's now.
No way.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Where?
if
We
I
had them in
drive to
Georgia.
if I drive to Atlanta, two
Yeah.
Bucky's
Mm-hmm.
along the way.
Two? Not
Bro,
one, two.
bro,
Two.
two. It's like it's the perfect spot. So like if I drive, Atlanta 7 hours. So I drive within an hour and a half. There's a Bucky's. So that's like,
Oh
oh, I get
man.
excited, right? And then you get full and you get your snacks. So I'm ready to drive another 4 hours and there's another Bucky's.
That's
And
right. And
then
then you're right
one,
outside the city.
yeah,
Yeah.
1 hour away, you're in Atlanta. So So yeah, I mean, we all love. It's crazy because like Bucky's was only in Texas before, and then
Yeah.
now
It's
Hmm.
it's
taking
actually
over.
close to all of us. Um, but yeah, I think going back to taking spontaneous trips. I think it's very. I would say it's healthy. I would say it's mentally refreshing, mentally awakening, that you don't have to live with your own zip code forever. And I think that's what I challenge everybody that, you know, go from if you're from the East Coast, go to West Coast. If you're from West Coast, go to the East Coast. One of the cities that we have grown to love is Phoenix. It's just a different, like, for me to go to
Yeah.
like a desert, it's just like Glenn's laughing because like, yeah, I see that every day. Like to see cacti,
Tumbleweed just blows by
Yeah,
behind Glenn.
tumbleweeds.
right, yeah, it's just like not seeing giant trees, no
Yeah.
greens. It's like, for me, it's refreshing. It's just
Oh
like
yeah.
different. So I think those are the things that um mentally it will benefit you.
I
Go ahead,
have an
Anna.
adjacent idea because
Okay.
some people don't like to travel. There may or may not be one Cellar Club podcast host who hasn't taken a vacation in like how many years?
Oh yeah, we need to
That's
ask
true.
that guy. We should
Okay.
ask him.
So, well, I wanna run this by him because maybe this is for him. I don't know. It's Glenn. But
Okay.
Yeah.
so what if like we all more or less work from home, right? And so
Hmm.
we're always at home, but do you ever find that when you're really busy in your business that you don't really get to like enjoy your home? And like I like my home. I like being in it. I like working from it. But I think sometimes it's like, okay, what if you were to essentially do a staycation or even just one day where
Staycation.
you took off work, but you intentionally treat it
Unplug. Unplug.
like you're at an Airbnb. Like
Airbnb. Yeah.
Mm.
you've walked into this beautiful home and you're like, "Wow, I just get to enjoy this. I can go read a book by this window or cook in this kitchen or whatever." Like, do you think that that would be equally kind of refreshing to like reapproach your own space in a way that you're not just in the grind working, but you're actually like paying attention and enjoying your home? Like, what do you think about that?
I would say yes. I mean, I like that idea a lot. Just having that full day of just you're just in bed, Netflix, snacks,
Yes, a
chilling.
bed day. Yes, we love a bed
Exactly. I
day.
think that would definitely help you to keep your mindset and your body fresh, going back into the business. The problem for me is, I don't know if I can do that. Number one, number one, having a child, so baby
Yes.
needs to eat, baby needs attention, baby needs changing. So
Maybe
that would
not
be different
feasible at the moment.
at the moment. I think before baby, I think it was definitely feasible. The
Yeah.
second thing that's also bad is that my house right now is like in box online arbitrage
So
order
it's a storage
nonstop
unit
rat
right now.
hole.
It's a
Pretty
Rat
storage
much.
unit.
hole. No. I
Pretty
didn't
much.
expect rat hole. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't that.
Like it is just there's just so many boxes, and I even talked to the wife too that I'm like, this is actually a problem too, and I don't know, maybe the listeners can relate, but I'm like, I want to start over, and I want my home to feel like a home and not a
Yeah.
warehouse,
Right.
and it has gotten to that point where I'm like, yeah,
Glenn,
this
I can
home
give you
needs to be a
tips.
home.
I can give you tips on this one
Okay, go ahead.
because I'm backwards now. Now I have a home. Before
Oh,
I
that's good.
Yeah.
didn't. Right,
came
yeah,
from
at my
that, yeah.
apartment. But no, that
Right.
was just kind of like a joke. But no. I think that's big. That's big, Glenn. Maybe you might have to lose your garage.
Oh, we can't do that. We can't. We won't.
Oh.
You know what I don't like about the garage stuff is that it doesn't even get that cold here. But in the mornings, I can't see myself like, starting up the car, letting it get ready, and then I just like getting into the car. It's nice and fresh in the garage, and I just go. You know what I mean? I don't want to be too cold out there. So that's why I can't lose the garage. The wife has also thrown that in there too. Like maybe the garage. I'm like, garage is for cars. You agree?
I can't agree with that because I
Oh.
decided, hey, do I want a business or a garage for my cars? And I was like,
Okay.
my cars have already lived outside their whole life. They'll be fine. So,
Oh, okay. Different.
but
So
I would
different.
love, that being said, I would love to have a garage where my cars get to go in at some point.
They get to stay and live, chill,
Yeah.
relax a little bit. Okay.
Currently, they have a carport, but not a
Oh, okay.
garage.
Not a garage.
No. So let's think for a minute about the day-to-day operations, right? Like say that someone who's listening to this is right in the middle of a very monotonous task. And, what are some ways that we can actually take the opportunity right in this moment to make something less monotonous? The first thing that comes to my mind is something my friend Brooke always would say. I'm sure she still does, but she's like super fun, and everywhere she goes she just brings the party with her. She's like one of those people, and she's so fun to
Okay.
be around. But even cleaning her house or whatever, I remember in high school, she'd be like cleaning up her room or whatever, and she'd be like, this is boring, like I don't want to do this, so I'm just going to find the most fun possible way to do it. And so she would like put on a costume, put on music, like dance around the room while she's cleaning it up. And she would have an absolute blast that pretty much was solely relying on her attitude about it. And, she would get it done and she would have had a good time doing it too. So
So
I love that
like
advice.
she's like hacking the
Yes.
the kind of
The
like the
Matrix.
environment. Yeah, the
The
matrix.
Matrix. Yes.
Um,
But I think
yeah,
of that to this day when I'm doing like a terrible cleaning chore or
mm.
something where I'm like, what if I could think of a fun way to do this? Even slightly more fun would be better than what it is now. So that's a good way to think about it.
So my hack is find a music that gets you going. So for me, it's always been Motown Morning, baby. It just makes me want to make that coffee, and it just different, right? So I think finding triggers, um, psychology, Anna, right? Is that a thing that we can find triggers that boost our mental state?
I mean, yeah, I feel like triggers is usually used in a negative way, but I
Right,
see
right.
what you're saying. Like, I think it definitely is. It's like a cue, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, it's an association. So, yeah, I
What
think you
about
can
you, Glenn?
definitely immediately lift your mood with that.
What do you think about music hack or like just mood boosters per se?
Yeah, definitely. I think music is helpful. What's that guy's name where he says like if you need music to work out, then you're weak. What's that
David
guy's name?
Goggins? Is it Goggins?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I am so weak.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, I
But
think it's
my
hilarious.
mental state's so weak. I can't go with my day without
Oh
pumping
my, I
myself
don't
up
want to
with
hear
music.
myself wheezing.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
You need to work
No.
out in silence. You don't need any
Awful.
motivation from music. But no,
Listen.
it definitely changes your mood and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
no, I agree.
What
But
Yeah,
I
I
else?
feel
think
like
Go ahead.
go
oh,
ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say with music you can like tune in and like get into it. With a podcast or something, I feel like you can tune out of what you're doing and get like
Yeah.
escapism, escape into a story or something interesting. But also, if it's boring and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of spending my time on this or my energy, like if you give yourself a time frame to get it done and like set an alarm or set a timer, sometimes that lights a little fire consciously and unconsciously, and you can knock it out quicker and move on. So that's another little hack.
I have another hack. Why do I have all the hacks for like trying to mood boost?
Is it
I
going to
guess
Bucky's?
I'm just a master at it right
Just
now.
drive to the
At
nearest
this point.
Bucky's,
Just go to
get
the
some
nearest
No.
Bucky's.
nuggets,
Exactly. Buck
get some
around and find
brisket.
out. Okay, go ahead.
Why have they not used that?
Wow.
Literally,
should.
why?
Huh?
Hire Glenn. Bucky's.
All right, Ken. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. He was serious here.
No. I would say find something to learn, something different. Do we even have, or do we even allow ourselves, because of the monotony of what we do? Do we even allow ourselves to learn something new? As some would say it, find a way that you can start learning and suck for a minute. just be terrible for once. I think it activates certain, uh, you know, brain function that you haven't used because you've always been so used to just
Being
activating
good at
things that
what
you
you're
already have
doing.
learned, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about, you know, kind of like put yourself in a, not maybe in a struggle situation, but more
But a
of like
beginner.
a
Yeah,
beginner situation, right? Because
for sure.
um, I feel like that's, I would call it like it's kind of like a brain lubricant if you keep using that part of your brain that is solving problem, or it's not even solving problem, it's even like just learning.
It's
um
seeking out something
yeah,
different.
that's yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the problem is, right? Whenever we're improving our processes or we're doing
Mm-hmm.
something new, it's usually because we have a problem, like we're trying to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what if you actually looked around at some processes that are working just fine? Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily that you have to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, not that you
Right.
have to change it. But what if there are better or more engaging, interesting ways to do what you're doing, to do that task or that piece of the puzzle, and you're not aware because what you're doing does work fine? What if you're missing out
Mhm.
on great because you're doing something that works that's good? And trying something new might give you that new perspective, or might, unlock a new idea, or give you even just give you the chance to kind of like be terrible at it and learn something about yourself, like,
Mm.
or appreciate the process you do have that you were bored with a minute ago. Like, I think there could be all kinds of benefits from that.
Glenn, what,
Very true.
talk about like the phase that we went through that one season
Oh, the
where
emo
we
phase. Gosh,
I
not
know my
that.
you guys are
Well,
hair and Hot
so moody. I
Topic,
just
the
cannot.
pants.
All the rivets. I just
the
Exactly.
man,
so many
this
grommets.
other two hosts right tonight is really Joker vibes or something like that. They think they're funny tonight or something. No, no,
12
no, no.
Well, you're
drummers
just over
drumming.
there hacking up hacks. I mean, we gotta do something.
You know what?
That's
I'm
true.
gonna switch
That's
it on
true.
you, B. Look, we're gonna go deep into this. No more fluff. No more anything. Keeping it fresh while your work feels monotonous. You know how it's not monotonous? You know what you have to do?
What?
You have to hire and not do the things you don't want to do. And this is something that I have not done. So I,
It's like, and
Did you
that's how I know you have to
practice?
do it.
that exactly. That's how I know. That's how I know. So you want
Just
to go
incriminated
sourcing? You want to,
yourself.
yeah. If you want to do the fun stuff, you want to keep this thing interesting. Do not do the other stuff you don't want to do. Shipping, you hate it, you can outsource.
You
Listing, you hate it,
can.
outsource. Just go right into source. Do the funnest stuff you want to do into the business. You'll be fresh. You'll be happy. You'll love it. Yes
Bro,
or no?
but doing the fun too much too often, doesn't it get old?
Well, I don't. Can fun get old? I don't think so. If all you did was source, if
Oh,
all
I
you did
feel
was
like
source,
this is
no.
turning into a philosophical question. Can fun get
and
old?
can
I
we
know.
help our
Set Ken
mental?
straight here. What
Yeah.
do we do?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think you can absolutely habituate to the thing that's fun now, and then it's not fun anymore. But
There
I
you
would
go.
also argue,
Exactly.
that there are some tasks that are inherently like way more fun than others, and the threshold for that is very high. And there are things you can do to protect the funness of them, such as throw in variety. Like if all you're doing was sourcing, okay, maybe if you literally go to the same source every day or every week, you
Mm.
literally do the same thing, get more stuff, same source, different day, right? But what if you're like, okay, well, this is the only thing I have to do. So I am way more free to go explore other sourcing
Mm-hmm.
opportunities and to network with people and learn about other sources. And maybe I'm even going to manufacture my own products because, I can source however I want to because all I do is source. Like, within sourcing, you could have the bandwidth to then make sure that it stays fun by changing it up or growing that practice. So
Yeah.
I think if all you did was one thing the same way forever, then almost anything would totally lose its luster,
Mm.
like,
Mm.
no doubt. But that isn't how you have to approach it, I think.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. Goes now. I know you made me realize that sourcing is not one thing all the time every day.
It's
Because
not.
I could go travel to a city I've never been.
You could go to
I
another
Exactly.
could
country.
You can go to the
Oh,
bins.
You
You
could
can
go
go to
to
what?
garage
Paris.
sales.
I
You can
could
go
go
to
to a
swap
different
meets.
country, Glenn. That
You
is
can do that as well.
whoa,
All you do is source. Not monotonous.
whoa.
Different side of town, different
There's
everything.
a lot of countries, so
That is true. And there's 52 states. So
facts.
And so
wow,
here's the thing
wow.
though, Ken. We're not
This
done.
is enlightening. This is enlightening.
I'm glad
As
you're
it
getting
should
to
be.
the end of this, Ken.
Exactly. We're not done. How do you
Okay.
embrace the grind? You know how you embrace the grind?
You don't.
You can and you will. It's by momentum, baby. And you
Oh,
get
Yes.
momentum when you
bye.
block out a certain time where you're going to focus on whatever you need to focus on. Just like
Totally.
we see it all the time. Momentum changes everything. You get on a
It
roll, you're just
does.
killing it out there.
It
Mm,
So
does.
you need to focus, you need to break that time off. I don't know if you can, if you have a lot of things going on, family wise, personal wise, that it gets a little difficult. But if you break down even an hour and you're like, I'm going to get all of this done within an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and your brain makes it happen because they know
That's
you're on that
right.
time limit. They know you're on that
wow,
crunch.
Yeah.
So
man.
All those little
that's how you
guys up
embrace that
there are
grind.
like, hustle, hustle.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, do
Yeah,
it.
Exactly.
man.
But
Mm,
honestly, I mean, you know what it feels like if you're dragging yourself into
yeah,
a
yeah.
task versus if you're pushing yourself
I
to
Yeah.
figured it out. I
complete the
figured it
task,
out.
right?
It's called. You know how cars have sports mode? They just get it done, right? Like
Yeah.
horsepower, pedal to the metal. For resellers, I call it elf mode. We just turn
Elf
into
mode.
like work mode. Like, you just dude, like have you ever seen an elf stop? No. That's what it is. I'm
Never.
gonna call it elf mode. So this
I usually
year,
see them stop in like January through November. I
well,
don't even know
Well,
what
you
they're
don't see
doing
them
for
stop.
11 months. What are
Glenn,
they
they're
doing?
building toys. They can't
they're
build
building
all the
yeah.
toys in one
Yeah.
month.
They're
I
building
mean,
Hmm.
factories throughout the year. They're
did you
building
learn nothing from when they came to your house during the 12 Days of Seller Club?
That is true. Okay, you
Surely
know
you
what?
asked them about it.
I did.
yeah.
I also
So
had
elf
tasks
mode.
for them, but they didn't.
You
Yeah.
did. They were quite
They were
busy when they were
busy.
there.
They were really
Yeah,
busy. Never mind.
Well, they have
it's
to
true.
build a bowl throughout the year that they have to eat off of when the time they get to Glenn's place.
That's true.
The
I'll put food
bowls.
in
Oh
their
my
bowl.
god.
The
That's
bowl,
right.
right? I
Good
know
That's
you
good
right.
forgot about the
callback.
bowl.
I
I
forgot
forgot about
about
the
that.
bowls.
I forgot about the
Yeah.
bowl.
But no,
I
I
tried to
like
forget.
that. I like that set because you know what I've been doing. I mean, you guys been doing. You guys have seen me work out the last what since August. It's an hour a day, and that's just go. That's like sweat mode. Just move your body and sweat and exercise. So maybe that could be a challenge for us. What is that 1 hour, 2 hour work mode, elf mode? Just create, get things done. Because you're right, I do believe that a lot of things that we do can be done in a shorter period of time. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of whether we're focused enough or how distracted we allow ourselves become.
Yeah. Focus is a
So
huge part of it.
Yeah, just breaking down all that, extra stuff you don't need. Twitter, other social media, Reddit, you're reading stuff. You don't need any of that stuff. Just
Yeah.
focusing on that. And the momentum is kind of funny though, because right after you do all that, what do you know? Sales start rolling in. What do you know? Offers start coming in. And beforehand, it's always like, oh, my store's kind of dead. It's kind of dying.
Yeah.
But it's like, once you're on that roll, you're definitely going to see the results real quick. And you get to free up a lot of the death pile, stuff like that. And of course, now we're back to being fresh. So,
It's the circle of life.
yeah, now we're back. I like that.
And we're back.
I like that. I like that. So monotonous is definitely not. It's definitely something that we need to be aware of. That we
Mm-hmm.
cannot let ourselves fall into it, because you know it could something that we have built, right? Like our business, our reselling, that provides for our family, that we rely for income. If we're not careful, and if that business goes into a monotonous mode, then it could be something that we might despise, that we don't enjoy anymore. And
Yeah.
when that happens, that's kind of like a double-edged sword. Remember, imagine trying to do a work or do work in your business, and it's not fun. But at this point, you're doing it just because you need to pay the bills. That can't be the situation this 2024. So we have to break off monotony and figure out the different ways where we can activate our brain to discover new and exciting things, even within our business or outside of our business.
Totally. Because
I
you're the
agree.
boss. It's your store, so you're in charge and you can change it.
Sometimes that gets a little scary.
Yeah.
But
It
no, I
is
like that,
scary.
Ken.
So where do we go
We're
from
done.
here?
I know.
Are we done? Did
Should
we
we end
just
it? I
end
think we
it?
should. I mean, I think that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's a lot of
You've
all
jokes,
been
right.
but I think it
frozen
was good.
again visually, but
All
your
right.
audio's been fine.
So let me end that. Well, there you go, guys. We said our take. We said our hacks. We shared different stories. I mean, even Glenn became, you know, no music, just hardcore, monotonous. Hire somebody.
It's that
Go,
momentum it got me.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that might be it. You know, find a way to build momentum because momentum gets rid of monotony. There's the two M's, and you want the momentum M. And that is it, guys. My name is Ken.
I'm Anna.
And Glenn, we'll see you on the next one.
Seller Club Podcast. We out.
Bye.
Bye.